Hello and welcome to another tea and crochet tutorial. Today we are going to be making the fox bonnets. So I am just splurging my yarn out the middle because it's easier to have on my desk and it's rolling around my feet. There we go. Right. So where's the beginning? So today we're going to make a pixie fox bonnet. So this is a I don't think I've actually told you in many of my tutorials what yarn I'm using, but one of my favourites is this special XL tweed Stylecraft. I'm obviously in the UK. I don't know if you're watching overseas. I don't know if you can get this, but it is lovely. And it has this beautiful kind of flex in it, which I just adore. And it's super chunky, which means it works up super quick, which is amazing. So again, this hat is being made in one piece with 2 ears, which are a little bit tricky, but it's okay. I'm going to take you through it. Right, so we are going to start with a long tail, a nice long tail, because that's what we're going to use to sew up the hat at the end. So we just want to put a slip stitch in. Oh, I've messed that up totally, haven't I? Let's start that again. Slip stitch. There, right, slip knot. Sorry, not slip stitch. A slip knot. Right, so nice long tail. Forget about that for a bit. And we are going to chain. How many chains we're doing? I'm going to make. I have a little order to get out in the post this week for a 5 to 7 years. So that's the one I'm going to make today. So I need to look at my pattern. I've put 5 to 10. To be fair, 5 to 7 spreads can stretch for quite a while. So that is that one. So I am working 34. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 31, 2, 3, 4, 35, because I'm using one as a turning. Right, as with a few of our other tutorials, we are going to work our first row into our back loops. So as I've shown you before, your front is with the V's. We're not working into those today. We are working into the back loops. Again, for the reason of why, it's just my preference. You can obviously work into these front loops if you find it easier or you prefer the look of it. I just like it in the back loops because it gives a better finish when I'm coming to sew up the back, which I'll show you later. Maybe I'll do a video where I show you the differences and you can make up your mind. That might be something I should do, isn't it? Okay, so we're working the back loops and we are working half treble crochets today. So yarn over, insert in, pull up a loop, 3 loops, pull through those 3 loops. So if you can just go along all the way through, just 1 in each. Okay, so hopefully you've got to the end and we just want to do one last one in there. So you should have a nice long row of half treble crochets. Okay, so our next row, and pretty much this is what we're going to do for the whole entire hat. So I need 13 rows in total, so I've done one, so I need to make another 12 rows, and this is how I'm going to do it. So we're going to chain 1, and we're simply going to turn our work, because now we're going to work through this way. I did get asked earlier about being left-handed, and I will say, if you are left-handed, I'm not very good at doing it left-handed, but really it's just, you'll just be working it this way instead of that way. I will try and see if I can work out a bit of an easier way how to explain that with left-handed. So bear with me with that one. I will do that. I digress. Right, so instead of just going, we're not going to go straight into half treble crochet. We're going to do a double crochet in the first stitch. It just means it will taper it at the side, so it just makes a better shape when you come to put the bonnet on, I guess, really. So 1 double crochet, which is just a shorter stitch. And then we want to do a whole row of half treble crochets. So half all the way along. And then we're going to end our row with a 1 double crochet as well. So, and you should see at the end that it just tapers it down slightly. And again, there are hundreds of ways you can do this. You could do 2 double crochets and then go into trebles. I just like to do 1, and then it looks okay. Okay. So I've got last two stitches, 1/2, and then I'm just going to do a double crochet there. And you could just slightly see that it started to pull it down slightly, hasn't it? So it just, because this is going to be the bottom of the hat, well, the bottom sides of the hat, should we say. Okay, so I'm going to now work my other 11 rows, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so I have crocheted my 13 rows. I thought I'd just quickly show you. You can see, I'll stop rubbing the camera. You can see if you can count your rows. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 13 rows. Okay, you can kind of see, I'm just trying to think a better way. You can see the ridges. So obviously one goes that way, one goes that way. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and I've got 13. I will try and pop on an easier way of maybe describing that or showing you that, because I think I first struggled figuring out where my rows were, but I have got 13 there. So what we're going to do now is, it should be a lovely long rectangle colour. We're going to work a tie, so one of the bonnet ties. So we're going to chain, and then we're going to slip stitch, and then we're going to go along one side. We're going to fold it in half, down the other side, and then you can kind of see now it's starting to take shape, right? Kind of looks a bit like a square hat. So what size am I doing again? Remind me, I'm making a 5 to 7. So I'm going to do 21 chains here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so just a simple chain. And all we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch, which is basically a flat stitch with no height on it. So you want to work into the second loop from hook, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, and you're just going to pull that straight through. There we go. Easy peasy. And you're just going to do that all the way back along. And then that will be your first tie. So all the way along. Okay, right, there we go. Oh, you can see I ran out of yarn on that, so I'm just going to quickly put a knot in there and stick that to the back. Okay, I'll sew that later. Okay, so now we're going to work along one of the edges. Now, what I do, and I think it's quite hard to write this in the pattern, so I hope it's made sense written, but if not, this is how I do it. So these first 2 rows here, I want to work a 2 double crochet together. So I'll do that slow actually, because that's not really fair, is it? So I've inserted my hook, I've pulled up a loop, I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm then going to go to the next hole, which you can kind of just see there. I'm going to insert my hook there, and I have 3 loops, and I'm just going to bring a loop through all 3 loops. So I've just done a little bit of a decrease at the beginning, just to kind of knit the hat down a little bit, and then I'm just going to follow through and just double crochet down this side. So you're going to want about, how many rows did I have? 13, so 12 or 13 stitches. And you can kind of see, I'm trying to see if I can show you. So you can see these, if you put it out a bit, you can see the holes. There's one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. And you just want to just pop it through there, quite even. So you can see it looks fairly even down there, doesn't it? Kind of see, yeah. So what I want to do, I want to get to the end where I can see 2 holes, and I'm going to do what I did at the beginning. So I'm going to pop one in there, and then I'm going to do a decrease here. So I yarn over, pull up, insert, pull up, and yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Right, here, so spread out your work again. This is going to be the inside of the hat. And what I do here is I insert my hook into that very first kind of chain we did, and I'm going to bring the hat up, and I'm going to insert into the first, you can kind of, I'm trying to see if I can show you this. So you folded the hat, so I followed this all the way down, and I want the very last stitch, insert there. Okay, so try not to get too tangled, because you'll also have your long tail, so just tuck your long tail inside for a little bit. With these 2 stitches on your hook, you're just going to yarn over and pull through, and just do a double crochet there, and then that should just connect your hat. And then we're going to do exactly what we did again. So I'm going to do a decrease here, and then I'm just going to work double crochets back down this side. Okay, I'm going to put one more in there, and then I'm going to do a decrease there. There we go. Can you see? So we've just double crocheted down there, and then I'm going to do the second tie. So I did 21, didn't I, last time? 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 21. Okay, and then just slip stitch. You see I use my finger there just to get that first one on, because sometimes it's a little bit tricky. That's okay. However way you get that loop through is okay. Don't think you're not a proper crochet because you use your fingers to do it. It's a handmade craft. I think when I first started out, I'd be like, oh, that's cheating. No, it's not. It's not. Do you know what? At the end of the day, you've made something magic out of a ball of yarn. It's amazing. Right, so I've got back down to the bottom, and I'm just gonna do a slip stitch into that first stitch, and then we're gonna leave a short tail and give it a chop and pull it through. So you should have something that looks a bit like that with some tails and a hole. So that is essentially the main part of the hat. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn it inside out, and I'll show you how we stitch it up. So pop your yarn on your needle. There we go. Okay, so you can see here, so where we've worked through the back loops, you get to see these V shapes quite clearly, and they're quite easy to spot. And we're basically going to be working through both of them. It's a little bit different from the beanie hat if you've made that. So you can kind of just find the first 2, insert your needle and give it a pull through. And then you can see we've got one here and one there. And there we go. Pull it. And the next one, and you do that all the way along. There we go. This is why we need a nice long tail so we can get to the end. Okay, and then what I tend to do is I put a knot at the top, do that a couple of times, and then I just sew in that end like I've been showing you. So I just weave it in and out. There we go. Give that a snip. Okay, and then I need to find all my other ends and sew in all my... Okay, so on to the ears, which can be a little bit complicated. So I'm hoping it makes sense. If it doesn't, obviously let me know, and I will try and think of a different way I can take it through. So we're going to need obviously the main colour. We need some black, and I'm using this tweed parchment, which is one of my favourites. But you could just use like a beige colour or a white colour. Or I have used some like kind of fur yarn as well. That's quite really nice. So I'm going to leave a long tail again, about 40 centimetres. That's 40 centimetres. And we're going to start with a slip knot. I'd also like to point out that I'm using a smaller hook for the ears. Again, just makes them a little bit more structured so they stick up and they don't go floppy. We don't want floppy ears, do we? Okay, so move my tail over. We are going to quite simply chain 7, 3. Now, because you're using a smaller hook, obviously our chains are a lot smaller, so it's a little bit more fiddlier, okay? But again, we're going to work into the bank bumps of the chain, and we're just using double crochets for this. So 1, so we should have 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need to cheese that on the hook there. There we are, 6. Okay, so nice start to our ear. We want to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to do a decrease. So that's 2 double crochets together and pull through, and then we're just going to work just 1 double crochet, another double crochet, and then another decrease. So again, yarn in, pull up, yarn. Okay. You want to chain 1, we're just going to work an even road here, so just 1 in every stitch across, which should be 4 stitches. Right, now this is where it gets tricky. So I'm going to ask you to pull a nice long tail, and we're going to snip that off. We don't need that one now. Now we're going to work with the black. Where's my end? Not that bit, this bit. And again, you want a nice long tail because we need to finish it off on the outside. So join in a new colour for my last one. We just want to pull a loop through, pull that nice and tight, and do a chain 1. Turn our work. We're working straight in with a decrease, so that's 2 stitches together. Pull through and another decrease. There we go. And then we're going to chain 1, turn our work again. This time we're just going to do just 1 double crochet in each stitch. So you've got 2. And then we'll chain 1 again, and we're turning our work again. And then we're going to do a decrease. And then we're going to finish with a chain. Okay. So you have something like this so far. Now, it doesn't look great, does it? But now what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet all the way down this side, and then we're going to double crochet all the way up this side. So what we need to do, and what I'm going to ask you to do first, is grab this tail here, and we want to thread it onto our needle. Now what kind of needs to happen, because we are going to double crochet in black down to this point, and then we're going to swap to the gingerbread to finish the edging. So we don't want black all the way down to the bottom. So I need to get this tail, because I'd like to use this tail, because I don't want to start another I don't really want to put another couple of tails here. I just want to use this one. So I'm just going to thread it through. So you can just thread it through these kind of upside down ends to there, and then just put it through. Not too tight, just put it with enough tension. There we are. And then we can leave that over there for a minute. Right, put our hook back in. So I think it's just 2 here. So we're going to put 1 in first, work 1, double crochet. And then this one, just squeeze it in the bottom. I want you to wrap around and bring up 2 loops. I want you to drop that black yarn, and I want you to pick up this gingerbread yarn that we've just threaded through. And we're going to yarn around that and bring that through. So that makes it quite seamless then, do you see? And then I just want you to make, I think, 2 or 3 double crochets with this. 1, 2, and then I like to put 1 in the bottom stitch as well. And then if we take our needle off and just pull that through, see, that's 1 side done. Okay, so now we've got this lovely long piece here. We're going to work up this way, similar to how we did this bit. So in order to do this, I wrap the yarn around my hook and I insert it in, just anywhere you can squeeze the hook in, yarn it over and do a double crochet. And then do another one. And again, on the third one, a bit like what we did over here, when you got your 2 loops on your hook, put that down and pick up this black yarn to pull through. And then we can just carry on with the edge with the black yarn. Do 1, do 2, and then you should, I know it's very hard to see with black yarn, but you should be able to see our stitch up here, and we're going to insert into there. Okay, and here we're going to do something that's known as, I can't always say it properly, but a picot, which is basically, actually cancel that, that's not what that is at all. We are going to chain 2 and then insert into the same space with another double crochet. And then what I want you to do is just pull that through. Oh, let's cut that black yarn there, give it a little tail, that's the way. And you should have something that looks a bit like that. Now, what we're going to do is we are then going to sew in the ends. So what I like to do is with this one, I like to, again, find the first stitch, pop it through, and you can kind of see there's the V, so just pop it in, a bit like we have under the other ones, invisible join. There we go. So we've got a nice pointy bit. And then on the back, I tend to thread it down to where the other end is and tie a couple of knots so it doesn't come loose. And then I just sew in the end like I would normally with any other end really. And this end. And give those 2 a snip. Snip and snip. Okay, give it a tug just to move it around. So you've got one bit down there. This bit's in the middle, so I am just going to move this down to the bottom because that's where I need it in order to sew it onto the hat. So I just pop that through to the bottom. There we go. So I would pause the video, go back and make another one, and I will see you in a minute. Okay, you should have 2 ears now. Now we're going to do the inners of the ears with the parchment. So we don't need to leave too much of a long tail for this one. So I start with a slip knot on my hook, and we're just essentially making a smaller triangle to go in the inner part of the ear. So this one we need to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we don't need to change colour with this one either. So again, working in the back loops, just double crochets, really simple. Insert, yarn over, pull through. Okay. Oh, my hook does not want to get in that one. Okay, give it a stretch out. Okay, you got to the end. You want to chain 1, turn it, and we want to decrease here. So 2 decreases, which is insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through all through loops. Then we're going to do just an even row, so that's just 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, yarn over. This one's going to be a decrease row. So yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then I finish with a chain. Okay, and there's your nice triangle done. So this one you leave a bit long tail because we need to then sew that on. So that was quite quick, so I'll do it again with you, making number 2. So slip knot, 5 chains, working in the back loops, double crochet, double crochet all the way along. So you've got a row of 4 double crochets in total. Okay, give it a tug and a stretch out, chain 1, turn your work a decrease, insert, pull through, and another decrease. Okay, turn your work again. We want to work an even row, turn your work, and then a decrease to finish off the point. And a chain 1. There we go. Ta-da! And again, a long tail. Right, you can go over there. So pull that through, and now we're gonna just simply thread it onto our needle. Right, so if you've watched the bear tutorial, I don't know if I'm releasing these together or not actually, but you don't want to sew it through because you'll end up with those kind of stitches on the back. We don't want that. So what you want to do is you want to kind of thread, just pick up the top stitches because then you can't see it from the back. Okay. And you know what, if it does come through, it's not the end of the world. You just unpick it, or you just live with it. So I tend to, I'm trying to think if I can get this close, and if it's black it's quite hard to see, isn't it? So there's 2 little loops there that I tend to start on as my top loops. So I pull that through there, and I simply just pick up loops as I go round. So there's one there, and just pull it through. I just sew it on. And as you move down, just find different spaces to sew it to, really. You can see the back. You can see these lovely back stitches here. That's the back of the double crochet. So they're really good to align with the bottom ones. So you can just match those up quite nicely. See? I'm not the best sewer. I can't really sew at all, actually. I don't sew, but this is about as far as good as I get when it comes to sewing. Inner ears into outer ears, and again, just along this part here, just find a loop. But as I said, make sure you find the top part of the loop, and then there's a top stitch here. I like to just make sure that's flat with a loop as well. I just go back into there. So you should have something a bit like that. Now I tend to put this down behind, in between the 2 bits, and I tie a knot here just to make sure it's nice and secure with that little tail at the bottom. And then I simply just thread it through, again through the middle, so it's hidden, and the same with this bit. just hide it. And then you can just give it a bit of a tease and give those a snip. And there you go. One ear totally done. Right, get on with the next one. You pause the video and I'll be back right with you. Okay, so you should have your 2 ears. So now we are simply going to stitch them to our hat. So again, I tend to work on the left hand side first. I couldn't tell you why, it's just how I managed to do it. I think I work better going left to right. It's just how I've always done it, but you can do it either way. You can do it on the other side, whatever. So I tend to do it 4 rows back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I tend to pop it in this row here. So you kind of want it to be about there. I think I might go down a bit there. Feel free to pop your needle in and just have a try, see if that's where it is, before you then pick up your hat and put it through. Make sure you don't sew the hat together at this point though. So I just, I go up that side stitch first, and then I'll move to the next stitch and use those bottom stitches to just sew it to the hat really. Just go along in and out. There we go. There it is. And again, when I get to the other side, I bring it up and I go through this side stitch as well. There it is. Okay, and then I pop that down. There we go. And I'm going to use, and I've got 2 needles here, but I can just pop that through. Right, so here I am going to just quickly go through the top parts of the back stitches, and then we're going to just go through some stitches on the ear. Just give it a wiggle, get them through. And then again, I will just insert my hook straight through. And this just helps the ear to stand up. Feel free to, at this point, it's wool. You can do whatever you want with it really, but just move it into whatever place you want. And there we go. There's our ear. And then I turn it inside out and I kind of thread one end to the other and give 2 knots, and then I just sew in my ends. Ta-da! Magic. And that way. And let's go this way with this one. Ooh, don't lose it off my hook. I've lost it off my hook. Don't be like me, don't lose it off your hook. There it is. Sew it down. That way. There we go. Snip, snip. There we go. 1 ear done. So now we just want to do the other side. So I tend to line up the hat again and fold it and move it onto the other side. Grab our next ear. Thread it onto my needle again. I know we are working here because it's 4 row back, so I think we're about there. So I tend to put my hook in and then just see if it marries up, which it does. Hooray. If it doesn't, just move it. I try and stay to the actual, you can see there's gaps in between the stitches. That's what I thread through basically. On the side one first. Pull that through down the same place, and then I will just stitch them along. Here we go. And the side one. You can check here to see how we're marrying up. That's about right. Let's do the back stitches. So again, just go through some of these loops here, and then through a third of the way up, and then straight back down and all the way through. Give that a bit of a bend in the middle, and then we can quite simply match them up, give them a couple of knots, and sew in those ends. I know I might be going a little bit fast. Feel free to pause the video, take your time, rewind. I'm more than happy to pop some more videos up if it helps, if you'd like it kind of explaining a different way or anything, please let me know. I am fairly new to this and I just want to share what I do, I think. Here we go. Have little tea and crochet fox bonnets all over the world. Yay. Right. Ta-da! There we go. See? Done. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will have the pattern in my web shop, and which will be available to buy and download, and I will be working towards setting up a crochet kit for this, which will include all the yarn, all the hooks, the needles and the pattern and everything you will need. All right, thank you very much. Bye bye.